Yeah, we need to move up Jesse's son.
Yeah.
Huh?
The woman from South Hall, that's gonna.
Oh, so,
Oh.
should move her up? Director Schoenberg.
I move that we, put forward item.
10D.
10D,
Mhm.
or actually we can, yeah, I guess we just need 10D. So yes, item 10D to, after, report of officer, or after board member initiatives.
10D as in dog, please.
Okay,
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
okay,
Is there a second?
public
I
comment,
second that.
oh God, okay, I'm gonna get here anytime soon. Motion has been made by Director Schoenberg and seconded by Director Nyman. Roll call of directors, Director Garcia,
Aye.
Director Nyman,
Aye.
Director Schoenberg,
Yes,
Director Kelly,
Aye.
Gibson, I 500.
Motion carried.
Public comments? Does anyone in our audience have anything to say? Okay. Report of officers, president. I have nothing. Vice president,
it's all on the agenda.
secretary,
And nothing.
treasurer,
I made several, transfers for, one for the, oh Lord, it's up in there.
For D.
Well,
and
we made
for
one for
Golden
D.
Valley.
We made a transfer for D and then for Golden Valley for the water hauling. And, also,
And those came from where?
huh?
The water hauling was from the.
Golden,
Right?
Chip.
yeah, from the chip, yeah.
Both of them are for Chip because D is Elm Tank.
Yeah, D was Elm Tape, thank you.
Yeah.
And also, me and Terry went to the bank, they. On the same account, I think it's a general fund. They charge us a $55 charge again. And so we talked to Brenda and I'm like, she still hasn't resolved the previous, so they owe us at this point like $110 at least from the one account. And I think there was one other one that she hadn't dealt with yet, so I told her she needed to get on it. We've been waiting for, this is like the third month. I realize she's, new in her position, but it needed to get taken care of, so we'll see what happens. So that's all I got to report.
okay, thank you. Do you have anything, JPI?
I have nothing.
Okay, board member initiatives, are there any board member initiatives?
Negative.
Okay, oh, yeah.
Yeah, weren't you gonna bring up the whole robocall thing of the?
Oh, Robocall, I thought that was like a personal thing.
No, it's a robot.
But I
Oh,
am a renter. And so I did not get the robocall about the water outage. My landlord did, and she lives off the hill and did not, let me know. And so I'm wondering, is there any way for people that are renters to get their phone number put on the robocall?
Not through RVS, but that's why we also hang on your door. So everybody does eventually get the information. The robocall is just like an additional jump on getting the information out there. But you'll have it hung on your door.
Not the water shut
We
off.
can't do anything about robocalls because that's,
Okay,
we're stuck with the RVS system, and if the owner.
Fair enough.
Okay, so
Yeah.
all the numbers are coming off already, yes, okay.
Yeah,
but if I was paying the bill, then it would come to me, right?
Mhm.
Right, because you would have given your phone number.
yeah.
Got it, okay. And so can we move now to 10B?
And D is in dog.
Oh, D, okay, 10D. And that would be,
Is that my cue?
I'm sorry.
is
I didn't
Jessie.
know you-
That's the loan.
Jesse,
Hi, everyone. Hello, board members. Great to see you, even though your faces are tiny. Thank you for having me, and thank you very much for moving this item up. I just supposed to speak to a Fresno State class that is happening at the same time. So otherwise, I wouldn't mind hanging out and hearing the whole meeting tonight. Unfortunately, I have to go do that. But I wanted to just make myself available to answer any questions you might have about the bridge loan. I understand there are some questions about fees, and I wrote up a memo to explain what I thought your concerns might be. But happy to review that together or take additional questions as needed.
Director Schoenberg?
Yes, I was, Jesse, I was just a little bit concerned because I mean, it helps reading that letter. And I understand that we need to pay back when we get money from the state, that we have 30 days. And then what was said this morning on the ad hoc is there were additional 15 days grace period, which it says in the letter as well. So that's actually kind of 45 days, and then there's a late fee. But it's kind of odd to track because we turn stuff in and then we get, so how are we tracking, how are you tracking that, or how are we tracking that? Because we put the claim in, but that isn't when we get the money just sort of randomly comes in from the state. So I'm just
Right.
wondering how we track that.
Yeah. My chief financial officer has the same question. The truth is that, there is no great way for us to know when you receive those funds. So there's an element of trust here that we are looking to you to say, okay, hey, we got our check. We ask DFA to advise us when the claim is approved. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. So yeah, there's no real hard and fast way to know when your check has been dispersed. We live this every day because we send our own, requests for reimbursement to the State Water Board, and we know exactly how, obscure the process can be as the approvals move through the system. So
it's not necessarily from when they approve, that was
Yeah.
my concern, is that when they approve it is not when we actually physically have the check and deposit it, so.
no, I would be interested I would be looking for you to pay within 45 days, preferably 30, but 45 if it needs to be from the day that you receive the check. Because I
Okay.
understand you probably have a process to write warrants and, what you need to
Right,
meet as
because,
a board, and yeah.
Concern is that we only meet twice a month. And when we write the checks, we go through a process of, we have a accounts payable ad hoc, they look at everything, then it needs to come to a board meeting, it needs to actually physically be approved like we're gonna do tonight in the board meeting. So
Right.
I was just concerned that might, it might be a little weird, but I think as long as it's from when we receive the check, then we always bring it up at the very next board meeting, so it should be fine. That's usually less than 15 days.
Jesse, I have a question. How long from the time that we sign the commitment letter, will we be approved to be able to draw funds?
So I asked that question today because the piece that we're waiting on is the finalization of the loan agreement, and our CFO is the one who's going to approve it. He's been buried in audit for the last million weeks, but I think I can commit to saying we will get you the agreement for your signature on December 1st. So that's the week after Thanksgiving. And once that's signed and we have all of there's a few kind of closing conditions in that commitment letter, including proof of insurance and a couple other things. And I can't recall off the top of my head if we have any of that from you already, but once we have all of those and that signed loan agreement, then we'll be ready to disperse funds as soon as you have a state claim that matches your disbursement request ready to go.
Right, well, because we have one actually tonight that's gonna be going in for.
Oh, okay.
For $200,000 for the drilling, so
So you'd like that to be your first draw?
that's probably gonna be our first draw.
Yes.
Brilliant. Okay. Well, I hope I can
Brahma,
get it to you sooner.
Brahma, sorry to interject. I recall you mentioned you had a question about the insurance you needed to have, and I totally spaced out on this, Jesse. I didn't ask you. Do you want to present that question again, Brahma?
I'm looking for is the commitment letter in here?
Yeah,
Yes.
10D. Look under number 10. It's right there.
I see the claim.
Should be in front of us.
I don't have one in here. Oh, you said 10. Oh. I'm sorry. I feel like Becky right. Sorry about that. I'm not sure what
Well, if I can offer in section 24, this is where it refers to insurance requirements. There's a requirement of a certificate of liability insurance and the minimum amount of $1 million, naming Self-Help Enterprises as an additional insured. And then there's evidence of a fidelity bond or employee dishonesty theft insurance.
Okay, well, I mean, all of our board members are bonded. So is that what you're talking about?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
it's probably
As is-
part of your liability policy.
Right?
Yeah, yeah, that's
No, just
True.
one.
so. I know that we have over $1 million bond
Oh, yeah.
insurance.
We need.
So we just need to find out if we can add Shia to that.
The same day that we email it back, which is naming them as additionally insured. So that'll be quick.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
And we're each bonded for million, pretty much. So I think we have one slightly less than that.
Oh, on number 12, it says, this commitment will expire on December 26, 2022. Is that a mistake?
Mhm. I think it is, because that was supposed to be. No, that's 2 months, that's 60 days. I think elsewhere it says 30 days. So it probably should have been November 26th, but it's just the commitment letter that expires.
Is that what that's about? Okay.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
just a way
okay.
to say, we've got this money set aside for you. If you haven't basically claimed it, by a certain time frame, then we're going to consider the money available to lend to somebody else.
Right.
So you're signing the commitment letter just kind of seals that envelope. But yeah, it says till December 26th. So obviously I would honor that.
And when it says the loan term is 12 months.
Mhm.
How does that work? I mean, that's like, we have to have the money paid back within 12 months or?
Ideally, there's also an option to extend for up to 6 months. I think ideally we would want to have all of the draws processed within 12 months of from the day that you signed the loan agreement that is executed. If there are delays in the
Okay.
project that cause it to go longer, okay,
Right,
we'll talk about it. We provide in item 12 for a no cost extension of up to 6 months.
okay,
And certainly if the project were complete, say, and you were just waiting on that final state disbursement to get that last check to make your final payment,
right.
fine, like that's a no-brainer. Of course, we would provide a quick written extension to just allow for that payback time. I'm sure hoping that the project, do we expect the project to take longer than 12 months from, let's say, December 1st?
Well, it's possible because this one also includes meter replacement, and I think the meter replacement probably won't start for another 3 months or so.
Right.
And I don't know how long it's gonna take them to, maybe Dee can chime in how long we expect the meter replacement to be and before we have everything done.
Yeah, I think we gave them 180 days in the bid. So, certainly. Yeah, I have to check that, but I think we gave them 180 days to do that,
So 6 months.
6 months. So, add the 3, to get started. We're a year out, completing it, let's say.
Yep.
The 6
So like
months.
I said, we can make an extension of 6 months if we need to, and that's something we could just talk about as we get further along.
Absolutely. And there's nothing limiting it to one 6 months extension either. As I stated in the memo, like my only motivation here is to facilitate as many projects as possible with this money. So, that as long as the money is in active use, then I'm not
Right.
going to have a problem extending the term of it. So, I mean, we'll work with you as
Well, we'll
as
gladly
needed.
take your money, so.
Well, it's really the state's money, right? So we're all
Right.
making good use of the state's money to
Yeah,
compensate for the
exactly.
state being slow to disperse their own funds. So yeah, it somehow aligns up.
Yeah,
Okay.
Our money.
yeah.
Do we have any other questions, comments, or?
Do you get everything answered, Lisa, that you wanted answered?
I think I did, yes. Because I think we should be fine on the insurance and everything, so. When you say employees, is that just the board members, or are you? Because we are not covered for theft of that amount by, I mean, they don't have access to it, so I don't really see how that might be a problem, but I know like our general manager isn't covered by that bond.
Mm,
But the general manager myself also doesn't have
Doesn't.
access to any of the money. I don't sign checks or do any banking.
okay, so that's entirely in the hands of the board.
Yes,
Yes.
ma'am.
The board and our bookkeeper.
That's
Well, the
probably
bookkeeper
fine.
doesn't-
Has her own bond. She's not working for the company.
She's a contract employee.
Correct.
Yeah. I have to believe
She
that's
doesn't
probably
sign-
fine.
Yeah,
Anything either.
yeah. Because everything is just, when we do disbursements, everything is just signed by us.
Right. Right. Okay.
And anything over $3,000 is a 3-signature board members.
Nice. Yeah, I think that should be fine. I mean, hypothetically, the situation we're trying to avoid is, something I hate to say it, but I've seen it happen where a district receives their state disbursement and they panic that they can't make payroll that month. And they say, we're going to just borrow this money to make payroll, for example.
Uh-oh. We would
And then
never-
and then they're in a hole, right? And it's so hard to figure out how to get out of that hole. And that's what I'm trying to avoid. That's what we're trying to avoid with the terms of the agreement. So it seems like if your policies are such that your only employee, your GM, not only can't access these loan funds, but also can't access the state disbursements to cover other expenses, then we should be fine. It'd be nice to have a copy. I mean, is there a policy that, do you have a check or cash handling policy that kind of explains that?
Yeah,
I'd love to put that in the file. That would feel like good insurance of its own kind.
Yeah, and
We can have Tiffany send that to you.
I'd appreciate that. Yeah, and then with that, I'd say, fine, we're fine as long as your insurance covers anyone who does have access to the money, which is the board members.
yeah, and it's very transparent. I mean, all the funds that we receive for disbursement goes into, would go into the meter well replacement account.
Right.
And disbursements would be made from that account. And then, of course, we make the.
Yeah, so it's not touching our O&M account at all. It's going straight into a.
Right, so
It's
then
own account.
And so then when we get the reimbursement from the state, that also goes into the meter replacement, which we would then be making a check back to you. So that's not an issue at all.
That sounds nice and clean.
Right, and so just so you're aware, Tiffany, and Deborah, there is a post-closing conditions that they need within 120 days at the end of each fiscal year. They need a financial statements. So just so,
Okay.
yeah, so we're aware of that. So anyways, other than that, I don't think I have any more questions. Does anybody else?
So by fiscal year end statement, you're not talking about after our audit, just a typical year end statement that shows our profit and loss and all of our financials for that year.
That's correct. An audit would be great, but just a year-end statement will also suffice.
Yeah.
Yeah, our audit is generally a lot longer, so that's what I'm saying. You're not gonna get it probably within that same time frame.
Okay. That's fair.
You could get a previous year, but we're always on the year before, so.
Yeah. No, I'd rather have a timely year-end statement that is not an audit.
Okay, I make a motion that we go ahead and approve the commitment letter for the bridge loan and sign it and
Have our president sign it.
have our president sign it and return it to Self-Help Enterprises.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, a motion has been made by Director Neumann, seconded by Director Garcia. Roll call of Director Garcia,
Aye.
Director Neumann,
Aye.
Director Schoenberg,
Aye.
Director Kelly, aye. Gibson, aye, 5-0-0, motion passed.
Thank you so
Thank you very
much.
much,
Jesse.
Jesse.
That-
Great.
So
Thank
Jesse,
you all.
question, when we finally finalize all this, so we would just have to show you the claim that we've submitted for the amount, when we request the amount, we would send you the claim saying, look, we want disbursement for this amount.
Mhm.
Showing the claim.
Yeah, we've got a little one-page form that'll just kind of be your draw request. And I'm sure that
Okay.
Oscar and Carlos will be able to prepare that either for you or with you.
Okay.
And then just a copy, an electronic scan is fine of the claim itself, which again, I imagine Oscar and Carlos might have a hand in preparing. So
Yeah.
that should be fairly simple. And that's it, because I just need to know that we're dispersing exactly what you expect to get from the state.
Right, okay,
And then once that check comes into us and we deposit it, do you want a copy of the check as well?
Yes, that would be wonderful.
Okay.
Makes for nice, clean bookkeeping. Absolutely.
okay, perfect. Thank you, Jesse. Thank you for all your hard work.
Oh, you're
Thank
so welcome. Thank you for your patience. And it was great to see you all. And I hope to come down and see the project in construction soon.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Exciting. All right. Good night, everybody.
Managers report, A, administrative assistance report.
Uh,
So we got the manager's report first.
Copied the regular meeting agenda,
Yeah.
but it just adds a couple extra things.
Go ahead, Johnny.
all right. We got the all clear from the lab saying our bacteriological samples for the current oil notice that they came back negative. So I'm waiting for Jesse to
Good work, Johnny.
contact me.
Yeah.
So we'll have to go around and put all clear notices out everywhere.
Yeah, and my issue is I only have one employee and he is beat up bad from having all night leaks, all day leaks, walking from one end of town to the other, posting notices today. So I'm gonna try to get Jesse to let us do a robocall and post notices on Monday or Tuesday, but I don't know what his view is gonna be on that, but I'm too sick and Jose is super tired. So I don't know
Yeah,
how that's gonna go down.
where's Corey?
He already had a pre-planned thing to do, leave,
Okay.
but even if he didn't, both those guys are just, well,
Yeah,
all of us are just
No,
exhausted.
I get
No,
it.
we were just concerned because you weren't including them.
Oh yeah, no, he had a couple days planned for the last few months, so
Okay.
he took time. But yeah, so other than that, we had 3 leaks. I called in Pat Banfield again. I had to call in a hydrovac because I was right next to 2 4-inch gas lines. We managed to get it all handled and done. But I'm just sitting back praying that we don't get more like that where we have multiples all at one time.
Yeah,
And a question, Johnny, was any of that attributable to the cold weather, or you think, or it just was a fluke?
Well, I've always suspected that the temperature changes from warm to cold and cold to warm could affect it, but some of the leaks were pretty deep. So greater than 3 feet, so I would doubt that the cold even gets down there, but who knows, I think part of it is once one busts, then the velocity of the water going, if it busts in one part of town, the velocity of water starts to increase, and then it starts pulling rust off and causing other leaks. Steve would know better than me, but that's what I've always guessed.
Just one thing that I noticed at my own home is that when we were hauling water, I had less water pressure and there weren't any changes that I made physically at the home. And now my water pressure is back.
And the
So
funny-
maybe there was a fluctuation in water pressure.
Well, the funny thing is it's always interesting to me that people notice changes in water pressure, because water pressure is based off of how full the tank is. So it should only be able to fluctuate by maybe 6 PSI or something, somewhere around there, in that it's because of the tank. And when we're hauling water and all the tanks are low and we can't get enough water in there, then that's why the water pressure goes down. And then when we get them full
Right.
again,
No, that's what I'm saying. It was lower when we were hauling water and then it just came back right away. It seemed like right when we turned the well back on.
oh yeah,
And so
now we had enough water. Yeah.
Right, pretty
Okay.
rapidly, but I'm just wondering if maybe there's something to do with that, because now it's,
No, I don't believe so, because again, it's just a matter of, it's not a matter of a great amount of pressure. I think that when you look at the pictures, and you see how terrible these pipes are, that'll be all the answer you need. I mean, they're horrible. They're like a sunken ship that's been, under the ocean for 50 years, and they're just all corroded, and the corrosion falls off, or a tree branch, wraps it a little too tight, sucking the water out, and then we get leaks. I'll be happy to get some mainline in the ground.
Amen.
Yes,
Thank you, Johnny.
thank you, Johnny.
Thank you,
You're welcome.
Johnny. Administrative assistance report,
Nothing new since last
nothing,
week.
okay. Ad hoc committee reports, project committee,
don't report on that or me.
You can go ahead.
So we did the state update meeting today, discussed a lot of the same stuff we're talking about on the agenda. It's basically, almost identical agenda, so a lot of that stuff will come up on the actual items. We talked about the letter that we were just talking about with Jesse, so that's already discussed. So I think we basically discussed everything. The one thing that came up, I think that, let's see. That'll come up as an item too. So yeah, everything should come up in the agenda. But we did, both of us, Director Nyman and myself, attended that meeting. So, and then that's, there's nothing really else happening. Yeah, that's it.
I think that's it.
well, thank you for having 2 meetings today.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Accounts payable committee,
We went over checks. There wasn't anything that was really out of the ordinary, so everything seemed to be in line. The only thing I'm gonna bring up right now, and I guess for financial, is we got a bill for JPIA for $9,041.87, and we did not have this.
We're not there yet. Shouldn't we do that under? item
Okay,
eight?
we can just do it under financial, sorry. That's all I got.
good deal. Financial committee,
Okay, so both Director Gibson and myself have been meeting with our bookkeeper. I met a couple of times with her so we found all kinds of, we talked about this for a couple of meetings, but we found all kinds of discrepancies on the 2020-2021 year that is still under audit. We still have some chances to change that. We obviously can't change 2019, but we have been making adjustments in QuickBooks together, and then we're giving that to our auditor. And then there are also some things that we caught that are for 21-22, but that hasn't gone to the audit yet. So those we're just making as we go as well. And I've been keeping a running database of everything. I tried to print it out this evening, but we're having some issues talking to the printer from both laptops. So once we get that resolved, I will print out what we've done. It's pretty lengthy already. It's about 22 pages for the auditor to look at, and but he's going to get. It shouldn't be so difficult for him because he'll be getting our adjusted QuickBooks, so it's really just so he can track what we did as well, so that we can track it, so. So I spent a couple of sessions just with Deborah by myself, just inputting, because it was a lot of stuff to input into the database, and then we're gonna meet again on Wednesday of next week in order to get to another section. So a lot of the inputting was under directors' fees, things got put under the Lake of the Woods FPPUD project that shouldn't have been. Some things got, it's just nothing that changes our bottom line, but it's all changes our concepts of where things should be in the budget. So when we adjust our 5-year budget, it's going to affect that. I think we're still okay with our 5-year budget that we projected, but I think there'll be some changes that will be more realistic ideas of, where the money's actually being spent. Like it might have been listed under Lake of the Woods FPPUD, but it really shouldn't have been. It should have been listed under director. So because it's actually coming, some of those are actually our fees, and then we're also making sure that reimbursements are being put in the correct place because they weren't being put in the correct place. So when we get reimbursed, that balances against the monies that we've taken out. So then our budget, will reflect that as well. So so it's just slow because there are, and it's because we changed bookkeepers multiple times in the middle of that year. That's why it's so kind of goofy, and there were people coming up to speed and all of that. So and then leaving. So it's a little interesting, but I think from here on, it's what the work we're doing is going to be really beneficial as well. So
Yeah. I mean, it's hard. It's a big brain commitment for me. If I get done with the meeting, I'm done for the day. So, just on a personal note, a treasurer committee. Who's that?
that's Director Nyder and myself, but we're gonna switch that, but it's on the agenda. So we didn't do anything, and that's gonna end up on the agenda being rolled as an item being rolled in with the.
Well, now we are to the Deborah Angel Show, financial business, discussion vote on accounts payable and financial information. Okay, Deborah.
Okay, so we cut 13 checks from the revenue operating fund for a total of $19,041.56. And our only extraordinary expense was a check cut to D Jasper for $11,184.26 for the Elm Tank project.
Yes. Yes, and so I would just like to say, I made from our chip, the transfer from our chip into our revenue operating fund for that amount. I also did the Golden Valley, which was emergency, was just water. It was only $2,000.40. I took that from the chip and put it into our emergency operating fund.
No, $2,040.
$2,040.
Tiffany has been tracking all of that stuff, so we should be.
Yeah, no, she's tracking it, but I repeated myself from my treasurer report, but. And so while we're here on approving the check, we also need to approve JPIA bill came in, which we normally do on the second the first meeting of the month, and it went into a spam account when the bill came in, so we didn't have it, and it's for $9,041.87. So we'll need Deborah to cut a check next week, but we want to approve it along with this current financial check that we're approving for payment.
Director Schoenberg.
I'd like to move that we pay our bills and include the JPIA invoice that came in late and see if our bookkeeper can cut a check next week and if it can be taken around for signature.
Is this for
Second
employee
that.
benefit?
Excuse me?
Was this for employee benefit?
Yes, this is for benefits, yes.
Oh, okay, okay,
Yeah, it's not, it's a big check though, so it'll need 3 signatures.
okay.
Second that motion.
Okay, you seconded it? Okay, motion's been made by Director Nyman, seconded by
Oh,
Director
no,
Garcia.
it was made by,
Directed by Director Schoenberg. Now, who am I? Okay. By Director Schoenberg, seconded by Director Garcia. Roll call of directors, Director Garcia,
Aye.
Director Nyman,
Aye.
Director Schoenberg,
Aye.
Director Kelly,
Aye.
Director Gibson, aye, 5-0-0. Motion passed. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
Thank you, Deborah.
Thank you, Deborah.
Have a good night.
Thank you. Have a good evening. And for those who celebrate, happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Unfinished business, 9, discussion vote on Fraser Park, Lake of the Woods Consolidation Planning Project. A discussion vote review of the project timeline.
So we discussed this in the state update meeting this morning. There isn't a change currently with the project timeline.
Okay,
Right, Dee? Nothing new since this afternoon? Or this morning?
That's correct. Nothing new.
okay. B discussion vote on production well property acquisition. Where we at?
It-
So we had talked on the state update meeting about, Dee was gonna talk to our attorney. I don't, and if we needed him here, he was gonna be here. I'm assuming he didn't have any new information because he's not here. So is that correct, Dee?
That's correct. I've not been able to get a hold of him. I've placed a couple of phone calls today, and an email. So Alan must be wrapped up in some really important thing that is pulling him away. So I know that, I'll just keep trying, and we'll possibly be able to speak with each other tomorrow or maybe Monday. I don't know his status right now.
And you have not heard from either party on the acquisition.
That's correct.
Okay,
Well, what's the timeline on that?
they were due a while ago.
When do we need to hear,
We should have already gotten word from both property owners. The letter went out. How long's it been since the letter went out, Dee? Like weeks, a
Yeah.
month?
About a month.
Right, so that's why we need to talk to the attorney and see
Okay.
what we should do next, because we haven't even entered into negotiation. We haven't even heard back from the property owners,
Yeah.
although we did notify them, and they did sign, they both received the notification, so we know they received it, they just haven't answered us.
They had like 2 weeks or something like
Yeah.
that. Then answer
So
back.
so our next move is to talk to our attorney.
Okay. Number C, discussion vote on district sphere of influence map for the annexation.
Yeah, I'm just I'm saving you some time, Dee, since we discussed all this in the state update meeting. That is LAFCO has taken a look at it. It has been sent to the next item. It's been sent to Bravish from Hoffman and Stanley Hoffman and Associates. And so it's basically, and there were a couple really minor changes that Dee already made. So I think we're
just waiting for,
Which is
a
item
quote-
D.
Yeah, item D, a quote back from Stanley Hoffman to see if there's any updates for updating the MSR, if that quote that we got a few months ago stands as is. And then we're gonna move forward with the MSR.
That's correct. And I got a communication from Bravish today, and he is out of country right now. He said they should be back in first of the week, and that he would get right on it Monday or Tuesday and get us an update.
Okay.
Okay, so did we
So
just,
we just went to D.
we went to
so
D
yes, we're
already, yeah. Okay.
A little out of order, but.
Discussion vote on the memorandum of understanding.
So that we can't really go forward. We decided to put it in here, so we make sure that we move forward on it, but we need to do the MSR first or get a quote on the MSR first in order to move forward on the memorandum of understanding. But the one thing that's great is that a lot of the things that we were asking for when we first initiated this project are being done currently by Lake of the Woods. And so a lot of the things that we were so worried about happening are in the middle of happening. So
Right.
that will make things a lot easier. So thank you, Joan, and thank you, Pam, and anybody else who's on here from Lake of the Woods. Trish,
And
Mary.
Mary.
Okay. F, discussion vote on the early drilling of well 8.
Nothing's
Well, that,
happening.
nothing we can do on that until we
Still?
acquire the property, so.
Discussion vote on Lake of the Woods project and consolidation.
So that's for Lake of the Woods.
Is that a Pam
Any
thing?
news in Lake of the Woods?
If you want to just fill us in maybe a little bit more, because the board, we weren't able to tell the board what you were talking about, Joan, earlier today. In terms of the
Strikes and
curveballs
curveballs.
in your pipeline project.
Yeah, we had a minor curveball on our $3.5 million grant. We did not expect that the bid would come in so much lower than we expected. So we had extra money. So we were trying to add on more pipelines, and we thought we were procedurally doing it correct. And it turns out that we may not have been. So we're having a meeting tomorrow with our legal counsel and various peoples and stuff to come to an answer of how we can go about correctly processing this, or if we're going to go to our plan B. But either way, we'll have some kind of decision tomorrow or early next week to move forward on that one. And then our $5 million grant, that one is right on schedule with everything that it needs to do as far as engineers and CEQA people and all of those different folks doing their thing.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Okey
Okay,
dokey.
number H, letter H, discussion vote on claims and payouts. Is that you, Carlos?
That's Carlos.
Or 9.
Oh, okay, would you
Hello?
like me to address the one issue on the claim, Carlos? So.
Yeah,
go ahead. Okay, so on claim 24, we have in an invoice for $5,000.16 for D Jasper and Associates, and it's for Val Bridge. And unfortunately, we do not have the proper amount because it comes out of appraisals and licenses, and we only have 2,000.
Yeah, we would have had more money. We had money for all the appraisals in the initial budget.
Okay.
And then we start taking a little bit of money for D Jasper and Associates out of
Okay.
that same
Can-
line item.
Can I continue? And then if I don't.
Yeah,
Okay, so basically, we had 15,000 originally come out for the appraisals, but we didn't realize there was an extra 5,000, which makes it 20,000. So we didn't have enough budgeted in that line item. So what we're going to have to do is discuss it with Dee and Carlos as to how much we're gonna need to put into the budget on that line item, and then send a letter to Lawrence so that he can approve it. So therefore, since there's only $2,150 left in budgeted under that line item, we can't submit it under this current claim. So our suggestion is that we're going to take the 5,000 out of this claim. And we're gonna go ahead and pay D 5,000 so that he can pay Valbridge. And then we'll get reimbursed because we'll put it in the next claim. We'll have to get the letter done before the next claim so that we can submit it next month and to get the reimbursement for the 5,000.
And D has actually already paid Valbridge, so when we sent the 15,000 at the last meeting, he added an additional 5,000, so we're really just reimbursing D, which he's happy about, so. So we would be reimbursing him and then being reimbursed ourselves.
And then we would get the reimbursement. So
I like
so we just need approval of the board for that. Also, so then, and also in the discussions of adding money to that line item also includes more of the negotiations and things that we need to do for appraisals and for, isn't that correct?
Correct.
Yeah, yeah.
So you're gonna ask for more than the 5,000.
So we'll probably ask for more than the 5,000 to be transferred from the contingency into the appraisal.
Well, we don't know what that amount is.
Oh, we don't know that, we have, like I said, we have to discuss it with Deal, have to come up with a number. And then we'll have to have Carlos do a letter.
What's left in the contingency?
Lots of, I mean, it won't be lots, but enough to cover the appraisal.
I'm looking here, I don't have it.
It's,
Okay, we have $137 and $137,159. So, yeah,
Cause I was like, I know sometimes our contingency gets
yeah.
wonky too.
So anyway, so you can go over the rest of the claim if you like, Carlos.
Shouldn't we maybe vote, before we do the full claim, can we vote on leaving that out, or we have to, or fold it into the motion when we do the motion?
I think we should just fold it into the motion.
That's what we should do, right, Tiffany?
Yeah.
Okay.
So Carlos, if you want to go over the claim, and we can exclude the 5,000.
Sure. I already updated the claim, and I did put that the 5,000 would be charged in a future claim, because if we don't get that letter out in time, or if Lawrence doesn't approve the letter in time, then we don't know if it's going to go out in claim 25 or not. So I just put it'll go out in a future claim. So basically we had a invoice from, well, let me start from the beginning. The board of directors cost for the month was $366.66. We had an invoice from Young and Woolridge, invoice number 95040, in the amount of $295. We had the staff recovery cost for the month of October in the amount of $41.13. And then we had an invoice from D. Jasper and Associates that was split into 4 different parts, but one part we're saving for the next claim. And we have invoice number 22-01018 in the amount of $1,384.25, and that was for consolidation engineering for the sphere of influence and mapping. On that same invoice, 22-01018, we had Teswell admin charges for $204. And on that same invoice, we had Teswell drilling charges in the amount of $1,938. So the total claim, which is minus the 5,000, comes out to $4,229.04.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I would like to, if nobody has any questions, I would like to make a motion that we approve claim number 24 with the items that Carlos just stated, the total claim would be $4,229.04, and that we remove the claim for $5,000.16, which will be paid on a future claim, and that we go ahead and next meeting issue a check to D for the $5,000.16.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, a motion's been made by Director Nyman, seconded by Director Garcia. Roll call, directors. Director Garcia.
Aye.
Director Nyman.
Aye.
Director Schoenberg.
Aye.
Director Kelly. Aye. Gibson, aye, 500, motion carried. Number 11, discussion. Vote on.
Oh,
Oh, I'm sorry.
And Roberts, just to let you and everyone else know, today we got the check for claim 21 and 22.
Thank you. Sorry, I didn't.
No, you,
We could have finished our.
Number 11, discussion vote on pipeline replacement project A, discussion vote update on potholing and mapping.
What was the count? Did we finish the accounts payable? The
500.
oh, okay. I'm sorry. I guess
You're just trying to make up for me being.
I got
distracted.
confused because she raised her hand and in the middle of.
Don't do that, okay?
sorry.
Oh, that they, and, but she was just wanted to make sure she
Oh,
covered it,
oh.
that agenda item.
Oh,
Done.
okay. Sorry,
No problem. Just let you guys wanted to know.
I got
Yeah.
confused.
So did you guys discuss at your meeting today, potholing and mapping?
And we're-
Wait,
We're on 10.
you're ahead of yourself.
You're still on 10?
We
Yeah,
Just started 10.
we just started 10. We did,
Nine.
the only one we did was D. Was the only one that we've already done.
So discussion vote update on drilling wells 7.
Well, something is.
That's-
Right.
That's D.
No,
It'll-
no.
it'll- Yeah, we drilled it and it's the test pump should have been delivered to the site and put in. And we're waiting for the engine driver for the development pump. And so that should be in the next couple days, might be in tomorrow or maybe Monday, but it'll be installed in the next several days. And then we'll do the pumping and developing of that well.
Okay, and also,
Water hauling.
also, we will have, when we do that, we will have to turn off well 5 again, and we will have to haul water. And
What do
we,
we do?
Potentially for a few days, correct, Dee?
Right, and what we'll try to do is coordinate that. Some of the development pumping, we might be able to do without turning off well 5, but Johnny and I have been talking about, getting our tanks full, and keeping them full so that, when
right.
if we have to turn off.
I just wanted to mention that Jesse Dollywall had said that when we did that pumping, he felt that we should not have the well running. So,
Well, for test pumping, I agree. For development, we pump, we surge it, we do some things, vary the pumping rate, turn the pump on, turn it off, those kind of things. So there may be some opportunities in there that where we don't have to turn off well 5, but
okay,
we're for that.
all right.
And then just a note for the board that we, anytime we're hauling water, that Jesse wanted us to do a report. It's a drought report that Johnny's supposed to be doing. So I'm just gonna mention it on record so that we make sure that we do that, because he felt, even though it was brought up in the meeting, that we're not hauling because of the drought, we're hauling because of an emergency with the well, but Jesse Dollywall felt that we still needed to do that report.
That they
I'm
wanted.
gonna have to
to
check,
Yeah,
I'm
the
gonna have to
state-
check in, I'm gonna have to check into that then, because I had to do that for a long time. It was a pain, and then the state told me I didn't have to do it anymore. So
Okay,
if
so
they're,
yeah, maybe check.
if
with
Jesse's
Jesse
going back
because-
on it, I don't even know that Jesse is necessarily the one that's in charge of that, because I filed the drought report with a different entity and not the Bakersfield local office.
It is, yeah, just double check on that, Johnny, because that was a request.
Well.
from him. His understanding was that they wanted it whenever any water is hauled. And someone else from the state questioned that, and so, yeah, I think you might want to look into it, but Jesse felt that they wanted it when any water was hauled.
I mean, the whole project has something to do with the drought, right? And that's why we're drilling wells.
Necessarily, the problem has lasted way longer than its livable life. And we patched it together at least once.
Yeah, so we would have to replace that well, whether the
75
drought
years old.
was
Last.
happening or not.
The reason they told me I didn't have to file the drought report anymore is because we're not, we don't have an issue with water supply. Per se, we're trying to drill new wells, multiples, and I didn't meet the criteria to file that weekly report anymore. So I'll double check though on Monday.
Yeah, just
Thanks,
ask the
Johnny.
question. Thank you.
Okay, discussion vote on awarding the bid for meter replacement.
Oh, was there anything else on well 7 or did we cover everything?
Yeah, I think-
Okay.
That's pretty much it at this point in time.
So we're on to awarding the bid for meter replacement.
I think, I have my screen, my second screen up with the, we're recommending, just bottom line, we're recommending, awarding to Bruff. I think the board needs to have more information and be able to think about it a little bit before you take action on it. Although you may feel comfortable with it, and I can go over it with you tonight with the information that we have and what we've developed in now analyzing this thing.
Well, go ahead and share screen, Dee.
Say again, please.
Go ahead and share your screen.
Okay.
You able to screen share too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's it. This is, hopefully you see our letterhead and,
Right.
okay, the analysis that was done. Actually, part of it was done November 8th, and then we finished it this afternoon after conversation with Jeff Bruff. So I'll kind of go through this. We received bids on October 13th. We had 5 bidders. I'll go over that. Bruff was the apparent low at 1.307 million. They submitted all the correct forms. The addenda, the project references, bid bonds, non-inclusion affidavit. They're a Class A general contractor. They've done work for us on other projects. They're under contract to perform a similar project for Krista. There are no subcontractors listed on their bid. The engineer's estimate was 1.947 million, 948. And the apparent low bidder that it would be Bruff is 49% below our estimate, 57% below the second low bidder, which is Lyles. After discussing the issues with Bruff and making sure that he was competent and confident, what the work is pretty much a drop-in type of a project, although there will probably be some pipeline replacements, some service line replacements, depending on the situation that, each meter is going to be a little different. But it's in concept, it's a pretty simple thing. in execution, probably a little bit more complex. Let's see, I wanted to point out some of the things that we pointed out here. The contract was concerned that they have missed how much work was involved with some of the existing meters that are installed at a depth greater than 3 feet below ground surface. However, these concerns were alleviated once we made clear that we plan to install new meter boxes at these locations from bid items number 7 and 8. That's about just under 300 new meter boxes. Bid alternate was also included to consider installing an AMI system rather than an AMR. The AMR is, the drive-by with a receiver in the vehicle, and as you drive down the street, it collects the meter readings, and it's really a step up. It's a great time-saving and labor-saving device. And that is but it requires people to, a technician to drive the streets, pretty much all the streets, all the trails, and collect the data from the meters that are in the boxes. The AMI system actually involves using the cell phone system to get real-time flow and quantity information from each meter. You can address each meter independently, and you can see whether or not, you can see what the flow rate is in the meter. You can see how much water is used, say this month. If you have somebody come in and questioning the bill, you can pull up their real time, their meter reading and their meter operation in real time. It's a really, it's a time saver in addition to being able to really pull up real-time data if you have somebody that's questioning their bill. The AMI system will add about $230,000 to the bid. There are some provisions there that need to be met before we committed to that, and that would be a propagation study would need to be done on the district so that we would be able to find out and determine where cell towers should be, antennas and such for the operation of the AMI system. So that would be something I think that we would not want to commit to right now, but keep it as an alternative once we get into the project. And if we decide that indeed we want to move ahead with that, we can do that. So we're recommending that the bid be awarded to Brough in the amount of their bid, $1.307495. Now,
Director Schondler?
Dee, can you just explain why there's such vast differences in the various bids and what the other companies thought they were covering that Brough seems to think that they will not have an issue with? So was it because I had a concern about the service lines, but you said that they're covering a certain amount of service lines. Is there a number of those? And then also were the other bids coming in definitely with the AMI and not the AMR?
no, the bids were comparable. Lyle's came up with 2.059, which is significantly higher than Brough. Brough is considering that this is pretty much a, pull out the meter and put in the new one and put a new top on the meter box, and really a pretty simple operation. So in his view, it's not going to be that difficult to do. However, he is concerned that, there are some meter boxes that will need to be replaced, and that we've provided for that in the bid. hopefully we've provided enough to give you an idea of how that bid is structured. I'll just detail.
Did we ever find out if we could get retrofit lids for the plastic boxes that we got?
Yes.
Good. That's perfect then.
You can see the mobilization. This is our engineering estimate. And this is the number 2 bidder. Maybe I can get you a little bit more information here. Can you read that?
Is it possible to send, yeah, I can't read it at all. Is it possible to send that information if we're not going to actually vote on that this evening? Is it possible to send that out to us next week so that we could actually?
I would be really comfortable with that. So that we get, I can send this out, email it out tonight and give you some time to review it, and then we can have a meeting and discuss it at our next meeting, so that you've had a chance to look at all of this and absorb it. We can answer some questions that I'm sure will come up.
I do have a question though. Isn't that going to affect? Wasn't there an issue on when we, how long we have to award the bid? Wasn't it needing to be awarded?
I think the issue is that the longer we take to award it, because we have to award it and give Lawrence Sanchez that information so that he can send it to his change to get approval.
Right, but there's also a specific time for awarding. Are we at that time frame? Because it's been a while since we received the bids.
It's a 60-day.
I think we're at the 60 days. That's why I'm asking.
Yeah, and it would be December 16th, which would be after the next board meeting.
Okay.
So
And Lawrence also said he's going to be gone for the better part of 2 months.
right,
So that's why he wanted to get it in before he left.
yeah, so that because the problem is it's gonna take them at least 2 months to award the letter back to us so that we could go forward.
Yeah.
Because we can't have any reimbursement until they give us we can move forward, but we won't get any reimbursement until they approve that letter.
Right, but the issue is more in when we actually, that we just meet the time frame on awarding the bid, because it still takes probably another, doesn't it, like 60 to 90 days turnaround before we can even start the project. So we wouldn't be needing the payment money until after Lawrence returned.
Yeah,
Right.
but Lawrence needs to put that information in before he leaves. And he's leaving next month, so I don't think we have time to wait on awarding the bid.
Because our next meeting is until the 8th of December. That's what I was just trying to figure out.
Because that's what he was saying. He wanted that we needed to get him the information so that he could get it done, so he could get it to his upper management before he leaves. Because it's gonna take at least 2 months or more for approval. And like he said, we're welcome to start, we could start having Bruff come in and start doing the work, but the issue is gonna be is that we won't get reimbursement until after they approve that, as we can't submit for reimbursement until after they approve that.
It'll take, once we award the bid, it'll take us at least a month to review all of the submittals that they have to make. So, that
way it's gonna
we
be on
can,
time.
we can award, but, there's a process that we have to go through with Bruff in order to get all the information.
But what do you need to provide to Lawrence, though?
I have another update too. Pam let me know that the meter rep for Ferguson is stating that there's a 4 to 5 month lead time on meters and 3 month lead time for the reading software. So that sets back the actual start of the project a considerable amount of time anyway.
Yeah,
Right, so, and we also have the bridge loan, so I'm less concerned with Lawrence getting the information and having it be. It'll be reimbursable, it just won't be.
That quick.
That quick, but it sounds like we're not gonna have anything in the ground that quickly anyway, so, I mean,
that's right.
I was just more concerned that we make sure that we get the bid awarded.
So if we get the bid awarded, I mean, my question is, how long will this bid be considered good before they want to change something? If it's gonna take 6 months to get, are they gonna be looking to change their figures?
Well, you know, we've got inflation going crazy right now. So, you know, I think they can hold this for a while. But you know, if we get out there, they would like to order their meters, you know, right away, all the significant stuff. They want to get that ordered at, you know, the prices that they bid. And so that would be, you know, the thing that they would want to get done as soon as they can. So if we make it,
That's the most significant amount of the project, correct?
that's right.
So if we don't have the money to cover that and they want to order that immediately because it's back ordered 3 to 4 months, then there is an issue in when we decide this. And get them and get approval from the state because the bridge loan's not gonna cover enough.
Right. Well, if you like, let's go on through some of the detail. But you can see that, you know, Bruff basically is looking at this to be somewhat similar to what he's doing, you know, in the neighborhood. However, you know, he is significantly low and he's very confident that he can do it for that.
Can I ask one more question, Dee, before you start going
Yeah.
over this? They've seen our terrain compared to Lake of the Woods, because you said, oh no, they're doing Krista's, I'm sorry, so Krista has similar. No, they have
No,
paved roads also, so,
And they're pretty flat, Krista.
yeah. So
Yeah.
have they seen our, have they seen what they're gonna be working with?
Yeah, we've had two,
Job walks that they,
yes,
okay,
so we pointed out all that to them.
And
The,
Pam can confirm, but I believe Krista don't even have meters in the ground right now, so it's gonna be more difficult for them to put in meters in Krista, and if they feel like, you know, they understand the situation, I would have faith that they do, because it really is just dropping them in.
Correct. Sorry, Krista does not have meters. Correct.
Yeah, it's a little more difficult to put them in, so if he's not worried about Krista, then you certainly won't be worried about us.
okay.
yeah, he is very confident he can get it done. His concern is, you know, if he ends up doing more box replacement, you can see item number 7, meter box replacement. We put in 286 boxes, and that was a percentage of the amount that we have. And that could change. It could be less or it could be more. But his concern is, you know, if he has difficulty with those boxes, particularly if the meters are deep, then, you know, he would need to put in a new meter box. And we've already, you know, covered about almost 300. So, you know, again, that it's a unit type of a bid. So we'll pay on how many he does. If he does fewer, then he gets less. If he does more, then he would get more money. But you know, again, we've got a pretty significant number. We've also got some box replacements in asphalt and concrete, 32 of them. So, you know, we've looked at that, and he has too, and he's pretty comfortable with this, as long as, you know, we do that we cover him if he ends up doing 350 or 600. You know, and in fact, when we look at the total project budgets for the combined meter replacement and well project, we still have money left over, even if he were to replace all the boxes.
So
So,
that would just be a change order, and that would be something we'd go through Lawrence, and because we've been authorized that certain amount, they would just go ahead and approve it and move it from contingency, I would assume.
that's correct.
Yeah, okay.
So, you know, you know, why don't I go on through, this packet here, or you folks,
No, go ahead, Dee.
Brahma can see it.
can't see it? Darn.
Nobody can. Brahma can.
I can see it.
I can increase it just a little bit more. And maybe this will help. We had in the bid mobilization. We had 5 by 3/4 inch meter replacement. There was 1,249 of those in the bid. 1 inch meter replacement, 23, 2 inch meter replacement, 1. Service line replacement, we had 6,350 feet of service line accounted for. And we're thinking that, you know, it probably will not come close to that, but, you know, it may, and it might be more. But I think we have a fair amount of linear footage here that, you know, should cover just about everything. The meter valve replacement, 64 of those, box replacements, 286. And in the asphalt, we already talked about that. So then there's some handheld devices and computer software and some other things that are needed in order to operate this thing. And we put in 75,000, he put in 30,000. So, you know, again, he's confident that that will work. The upgrade to the AMI system, our estimate was 200,000, and he thought it would be 230,000, something like that. So, you know, and from the standpoint of bids, that they always bounce around below and above, and certain, you know, below our estimates or above our estimates in certain things. These pretty much are below. But again, he is confident if he signs the contract, he's going to be stuck with it. And he's confident that he can do it, with a provision, of course, that if there's more work to be done, more than 286 boxes, for instance, that would be covered by the unit price. And so that's where Jeff Bruff is.
And so once again, my biggest, so the discrepancies in the spread of what these different contractors think it should cost. What if anything is the difference? I'm just trying to figure out where because we haven't seen all these different bids come in. I'm trying to figure out the difference on the ones that came in at like 3 million plus, what they were adding that made it so different from this bid.
Right. Well, you can see the number 2 bidder. Maybe you can't see that quite.
Yeah, when you make it big, I can see it if it increases again. Yeah, like that.
This is Lyle's Utility. Their mobilization was 43. Bruff was twice that. Their meter replacement there was 836 per unit. Bruff is 565. So there's $300 per meter right there.
So is there are they proposing different types of meters, or they just, or is
What
this
they
all
think
the
it'll
same?
cost them to change.
No, No, we specified the Neptune.
Okay, so they're all going with what we specified,
Right.
so it's just what they think
Yep,
it's going to cost them to put it in the ground.
that's right. That's right. Exactly right. The,
I wish I could have bid this. I'd do it for that.
well, I think, that's always bidder's remorse, when you have projects like this. But, the service line replacement, Bruff is at $50. I'm sorry, we're at 50, Ruff's at 45, and Lyle's is at 97. So, there's twice as high, and Lyle's bid to do that. Sometimes it just kind of depends on how they bid and how they look at the project, what is likely to be done and what is unlikely to be done. It's somewhat of an art in the sense that where do you put your profit in the bid, so that that you've got a certain amount of profit if you're going to just put the meters in themselves. There's the difference, 700 to 1 million. So, Lyle's is putting their profit in and a bit more. They're a very conservative contractor, as we know. And so they put their profit in a little bit different than Bruff did. And also, they're a bit higher too. So then the next one came up, HPS, and they're at
But there was $1,874 to put in one meter.
yeah, it
Wow.
just depends on how they look at the project. The HPS was at $1 million higher than Lyle's. And HPS is a good contractor, and they've even worked in the area, as Lyle's has. Rough. Especially another good contractor, they're about 3.6 million. And then Unified, they did a Wolf Tank, they were at 3.7.
Thanks.
So, we had a
Maybe it doesn't drain
very
there.
wide spread.
Why it's higher?
Let me,
And Dee, what's the difference, or just, not exact, but approximate difference between what we're now coming in with the current idea we have for the well and this bid, that if we take the low bid with Bruff, what do we have padding left in the project, just approximately?
yeah, we did kind of a rough tabulation, looking at the combination of the meter replacement project and the well 7 project. And what we did, we looked at the bid amount. If you don't mind, I'll talk about well 7 a little bit.
Sure.
We're 1.07 million for the bid. We deepened the well. We went, to 560 some odd feet deep, which added $70,000 to the price. We did also, Jesse wanted us to put in a pump to waste line, and that's a $45,000 add. And then we put in a contingency for comparison purposes of 10% of the base bid amount, which the contingency comes out to be 108,000. So when we add those numbers up, we get 1.3 million for the well 7 project. And that's without design or construction management, just looking at contractor cost. And then we look at the meter replacement project, and that, if we use Bruff, 1.307 million. And then if we added, if we did all the boxes, we did 1,200, almost 1,300 new meter boxes, that would add $248,000 to Bruff's bid. If we include the AMI at what Bruff figures it would be at 230,000, then we add a contingency of 10% of the base bid, which is 131,000. We come up with $1.9 million for that total. And that there's some change in there, but that total is 3.2 million. Now we have almost $4 million in the grant. Now, if we're looking at the engineering construction administration, we add those two up. We had in the grant application, we had put in about 340,000 on that. I don't know where we are exactly, but I think we're plenty fat on that. So that brings the total to $3,540,000, $3.5 million. And we have $4 million in the grant. So even with adding putting brand new boxes in for all the meters with Bruff, and including the AMI system and putting a contingency in of 10%, we're under the $4 million by about, 400,000 something.
That's great news.
Even with all that. And so, one of the reasons, of course, we did this because we wanted to look at, well, where are we? And that's kind of one of the things that I wanted to go over with the board too, and maybe more detail, and maybe, maybe at the next board meeting, but anyway, that's kind of where those numbers are. And so, we know that we're in good shape for this total project. Even if, we're adding some things in that we may or may not do. So, we basically have on the $4 million grant, we've got about a 10% float after all of that. So we're in pretty good shape. We know that we'll be able to do it for the grant amount. The question is, do we add more to, decide, well, gee whiz, let's put in new meter boxes for, have Bruff do this, all of them at $260 a box, or what? And those are decisions we can make as we move ahead with the project. But, from the standpoint of budget, we're in really good shape.
So even if we found that some issues occurred with the AMI, and we needed, there was some kind of antenna issues or something that, or, like we needed a repeater or something weird like that, we would potentially be covered.
We have extra money, and if we decided that, the AMR system would be just right, and that'd be fine, then, we would not spend the 230,000. But, it looks to me like we can really get the Cadillac system, and we can even have brand new meter boxes and all of that, and we're still in really, really good shape. And if the AMI system goes to twice the amount that Bruff has in, we're still in good shape,
I say we go for both.
Mhm.
I love the idea of being able to call it up on the computer at work and
We actually voted previously, I believe, on trying to do the AMI. So I believe there's somewhere at the beginning of this project, unless it wasn't possible.
We don't have to make that decision tonight. All we really need to do is award the 1.307 tonight. And then, at the next board meeting or the ad hoc committee, we can get together and kind of go through some of those details and decide, what do we really want to do here? But, it certainly looks promising that we can get everything that we want out of this.
I have no problem awarding the bid tonight. My biggest concern is about Bruff wanting to order the meters right now, and how much, that's gonna be, is it gonna be $500,000? How much is that gonna be? Because we're not gonna be able to submit for reimbursement until,
608.
well, that's what, but that's not the cost of the meters.
Or would we have to pay for the
That's
meters?
putting in the ground.
Yeah, would we have to pay for the meters before they
No.
even received them? I don't think so.
Not right now. Normally, and besides, we don't pay until they're on the ground. And we, are stored in a warehouse where we can count them and look at them and
Wait,
make
no,
sure
we're
that-
fine.
Then we're fine. Okay.
No,
Oh, I'm just concerned about us being able to submit for reimbursement and having enough money to cover and get them money, and so, it's gonna be a delicate balance that we're gonna have to try to do with the bridge loan, with whatever we have, our our chip, because we're already waiting, we're gonna be waiting on a couple $100,000 from reimbursement for the water hauling, and that's gonna take a couple months. And then we're also looking at probably 300,000 going out for the Elm tank. And, and so, that's just, there's a delicate balance there. That's fine.
That's right. And I'm not quite sure, do we know when Lawrence is going to be going on vacation? Is he
I
gonna
think
be
it's in December.
in December sometime?
It was soon, because it's
Yeah, because
a
he,
leave.
right, because
Yeah,
he was saying that he needed to get that information, on the award of the bid as soon as possible, so he could submit to his upper management for them to get approval.
Doesn't someone commit, if he's on a leave, isn't there someone taking his place?
He said not necessarily.
Yes.
Yeah, he is gonna have someone covering him.
Right.
Well, but that could be difficult if they're not up to speed.
Yeah, he's got a stand-in.
You might want to give him a call, Dee, maybe tomorrow and find out what he's looking for. And when he's leaving.
Yes, I'll do that.
We've still got to either award this or not wait until the 8th.
Yeah, no, I think we should award it tonight.
I got a real quick comment, before you do that. I just want to point something out. Was any of this work included in the bid, D, the extra work that you're talking about?
No,
Okay, because that was an issue with the Lake of the Woods, where they had extra money in their grant, and they wanted to do an extra 2,000 feet of pipeline because they had enough to do it. But DFA's legal came back and said that they don't think that falls into a fair bidding process, so they might not allow that. So that's something to think about.
everything that we're looking at here has been bid. So it's a matter of quantity, not.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is you only put 236 boxes in the bid. And if you guys say, okay, now we want to do 1,200, that might be an issue that might pop up. I'm just pointing that out.
But that's the unit cost.
I'll check
correct?
that out with Lawrence. Carlos, I think that's a valid question.
Yeah.
And I will check that out with him.
Yeah, but that, because if they,
That was across all 5 bids, so it,
Right.
Yeah,
I think that may be different than, well, maybe not.
no, because you're gonna increase the bid if you go, if you say, oh, 238, and then all of a sudden, no, we're gonna raise it to 500. Well, that's gonna
Well,
change your
two
bid.
eighty-six.
Well, but whatever the numbers are, it's gonna.
Well, the
increase
meter,
the bid.
well, the meter boxes, if they determine they have to replace them, then that'll just be a change order and that would be approved, because if the meter box is crushed or they can't use it, then obviously that's just an add-on, in my opinion. The AMI system, it was part of the initial quote though, right?
Right, yeah, it's,
Yeah,
uh,
it's not
but
an
what I'm saying
afterthought
though,
they're adding on.
Johnny, I agree with you on the meter boxes, but what if the meter box does not have to be replaced? Then,
Well,
and then you
well, if
guys
they
just
don't
want to
have to be
replace it.
replaced, then I'm okay with not replacing the ones that we don't have to.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying, that if you guys just say, okay, we're gonna replace all of them because we have the money, that might be an issue. I'm just pointing that out ahead of time so you
Makes
guys
sense, yeah.
can, yeah.
Somebody could talk to Lawrence about.
I will.
Thank you, D.
Mhm.
Okay,
In terms of that, D, can you also double check on the service lines? Because if it suddenly entails a lot more footage of service lines than what we put in the initial bid, if that would be the same issue.
Mhm. I'll do that.
well, that
I'll
should
check.
also be like an add-on, because you get in there and you find you're doing more than 6,000 feet. It just is a unit cost. So, yeah.
Well,
so
the
that's-
service lines would also definitely be a change order, because you would only replace it if you had water blowing out down the street, and in that situation, then you would have to replace it.
Okay,
Yeah, as long as it falls under a change order, you'll be fine. But
okay, I would like to make a motion that we award the meter replacement bid to Bruff Construction.
I'll second that.
A motion has been made by Director Nyman, seconded by Director Garcia. Roll call of directors, Director Garcia,
Aye.
Director Nyman.
Aye.
Director Schoenberg,
Aye.
Director Kelly,
Aye,
Gibson, I, 500. Well, that was a lot to work through.
yeah,
Thank you.
but needed.
Okay, well, thank you, and I will get that information. We'll prepare a notice of award and get that moving as well. And
Yeah, so if you could just call Lawrence tomorrow to verify what he needs and when he's leaving, so that would be the biggest thing. To make sure we get that done.
Back.
Well, he's gone for like 1 or 2 months.
yeah,
Okay, can we move on to C, discussion vote update on the project budget?
let's see.
Is there any update on the budget for that project budget?
Well, he did that in the process of.
Yeah.
explaining. So already,
I thought.
like, we don't need to, because we're covered under the grant amount, we don't need to change or put in additional money, so that we could take.
So moving on to E, discussion vote on claims and payout.
Yes, there is
Carlos?
29. That's Oscar.
Okay. Are you with us, Oscar?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
So for claim number 9, we have a total of 4 invoices.
Okay,
First invoice is from Unified Field Service Corporation. That invoice is invoice number 1022804, and it's in the amount of $204,418.50. And then we have another invoice from D. Jaspar and Associates, invoice number 22-01022, and that's in the amount of $1,129.16. And we have another invoice from D. Jaspar. That's invoice 22-01021. And that's in the amount of $15,301.57. And we have the final invoices from Young and Woolridge. And that's invoice number 95041 in the amount of $2,429, and which brings the total for claim 9 to $223,277.88.
Okay, just a comment, just a reminder, Dee. On your particular invoice, we need to make sure that you get the color copies and
Mileage.
over to Carlos, over to Oscar, so we can get this.
Roma, Gail sent that over earlier this evening, so I have that too.
Okay, all right. I just wanted to make sure we had everything, because I don't want this being held up, because this is this is probably critical because of the amount of money that it is. And so, we hope to be probably drawing money from the bridge loan to pay this particular driller, so. So with that in mind, if there's not any questions or comments, I would like to make a motion that we approve claim number 9 with.
Wait, how did we skip? Did we skip the bridge commitment level?
We did.
No, we already
We
did
did
that.
it. First
We
part
did
of
that with,
that.
Oh,
Woman, yes, okay.
Yeah, I made a motion and we approved it. Okay, once again, before I was interrupted, I would like to make a motion that we approve claim 9 in the amount of $223,000, $277.88, with the information that Oscar had recited to us.
I'll second that motion.
Motion's been made by Director Nyman, seconded by Director Garcia. Roll call of directors, Director Garcia,
Aye.
Director Nyman.
Aye.
Director Schellenberg. Director Kelly. Aye. Gibson, aye, 500. Motion passed.
All right.
Now, we're on to number 11, discussion vote on pipeline replacement project. A discussion vote update on potholing and mapping.
Well, we're plotting all the information that we've gleaned from our potholing project and all the field information. We're plotting it right now. We're doing it on a per street or per trail basis. And we have Lyle's pretty much on hold right now until we get a little bit better idea of what we have and the information that we may need in addition to what we have in order to get a good competent design on the pipeline replacement project in that area. And so right now I've given Lyle's a budget of $250,000, and I think our Oscar there at about 225, something like that, 225, 230, and we're holding him right there. But our whole pipeline potholing and mapping project has about 370,000 in it. It doesn't take long to eat that up at about $5,000 a day for the potholing crew. So you can see, 10 days is $50,000. And so right now I want to get a little bit better handle on what we've got. before we go ahead and finish that up.
So the thing that came up, D, that they don't know about in the state update meeting, was the whole idea of, at first, I think you were thinking about just doing the 12,000, whatever it is, 500 or whatever feet, that you had already potholed. But from what Lawrence was saying, that we really needed to approach the design and what we're requesting at the 24,000 that was initially discussed for the project. So you were saying that you were gonna try to build that into the design, where initially you were hoping you could sort of do it do the phases differently, but basically what I just wanted you to explain that to the board, because they weren't able to hear that. So I know we were questioning you a lot last week on what was in the design, what the design part entailed. So now the design part, you're gonna try to actually entail the whole 24,000 feet, correct?
Yes,
So that we can, because otherwise it may not be covered.
right, that's right.
We have to plan bigger rather than smaller, so that, and then if we don't have enough money, then we could request more money, but we need to. I don't know, what you want to just say, kind of what Lawrence was saying to you? For
That's
the
right.
rest of the board, since Director Nyman and I heard it, but nobody else did.
Yeah, it was basically, we can make it bigger and then cut it back, but we can't make it smaller and make it bigger. And that's basically, what Pam and Joan had experienced just recently, which is interesting to us. But anyway, what we've decided, Curtis and I talked today, and we're going to design out 24,000 feet of pipeline replacement, and there'll be line item replacements. Say, for instance, we might say Laurel Trail, Oakdale Trail, East End Trail, and have those each as a bid item, and then go through, we'll get a total, and then we can also always reduce it by each one of those line items. So that's what we decided to do. We'll go ahead and design the whole thing.
Well, and he also said that if we submitted it and it cost more, that we could request more, but they would allow us to start, I believe that we would be able.
We'd
be able to do the 9 million, and then that would take 6 more months to get the additional 3 million or whatever.
Right, it would be exactly what we were originally talking about on the well and meter project. It's just that on the well and meter, we came in within the
Right.
actual budget. So, but it would work the same way. He was saying basically to us that if we needed to ask for more money, we would have to go through and do the kind of what we thought we were gonna have to do on this other project, and then see if they approved it for the additional money. But we would be able to be reimbursed before that, up to the actual amount that the project currently covers.
So we wouldn't have to do a new grant for the.
It wouldn't be a new grant, we would ask for an extension, which could take up to 6 months, and they could still deny it, but yes, it wouldn't be a whole new grant.
But we'd be able to do the other work, and so then we could reduce it if they denied it.
Right. We craft our bid in a way that we could, put portions of it on hold if necessary. And, if it, again, if we come in at 12 or 15 and we need more money, it's going to take 6 months or better to get $9 million worth done. So, we'll have time to develop the additional funding if needed.
Okay, any questions or comments about it?
Nope.
Okay. Discussion vote on the project budget.
Just kind of
Just did that.
And we just did.
You just did that, right?
Right, because we can't actually move forward additionally on that.
So
until we have-
basically, everything is done. I mean, number D, that's when we finally get the plans and specs, then we can submit the application.
Mhm.
Correct, we have the application submitted, but not the.
But yeah,
Yeah. But, yeah,
So we can table C.
well, Dee's working on it.
Yeah, D's
Well,
So where do you
needs to
send it?
do mapping before he can even do the design, so he's working on the mapping right now.
Okay,
That's the one.
moving on to D, discussion vote on project application.
You have to have the other done before they can do that.
Okay. So on the water hauling. We discussed in the meeting today, there's two things that Mark Mastoto needs. One, he's looking for a completion date. And then the other is a updated budget from D. So I guess between Tiffany and D. I mean, we do need to get those. I'm assuming, Johnny, that those last invoices are gonna be submitted, so we have an idea of how
I'm
much.
assuming, Deke today from RMR said that he was working on, he wanted to call me. I told him, he needed to be calling Tiffany basically. But he wanted to clarify whether or not we were paying Lebec directly or if, we were paying, for Lebec Water through him. But, I told him to contact Tiffany and, hopefully if we don't have to haul water, all of the invoices will be in by the beginning of next week anyway.
Well, I think
Right,
we'll have.
I'm
to
gonna
stop-
interrupt real quick. Sorry, guys. I think I'm done, so I'm gonna be calling it a night. You guys have a
Yeah.
good night.
Yeah.
Thank you, Carlos.
Have a good night. Thank
Okay.
you.
Bye.
Good night, Oscar.
No, not
So,
Oscar.
and Mark requested that he wanted the budget and the format from that safer template that I forwarded over.
Right, and also Johnny, I believe we are gonna have to haul more water because Jesse Dollywall was saying that he did not want us during certain parts of the not the development, as Dee was saying, but during
The pumping.
the pumping, that we would need to turn off the
Yeah, I
well.
agree. And I think it's only gonna be,
Couple of days.
yeah, a couple of days and it will be only one hauler and we'll be able to anticipate a lot closer how much that's gonna be, as opposed to before when we just had every hauler we could find running nonstop. So it's gonna make it easier for us.
So my only thing is that we really need to, whether we need to contact the guy that has the invoice is because we need to get this submitted early next week. The revised budget and the completion date to Mark, so that the application could be submitted to his superiors for approval.
I don't
Because
think we need to contact him because he called me today to tell me that he was putting them together and he was gonna submit them. I think they want their money, so hopefully he gets it to us early Monday.
No, he said we needed those budget figures to be more accurate, so he needed that.
Oh,
on his-
yeah, that makes sense.
On his correct form.
Right, so on the correct form, we needed to get that to him, so that he can get that to his superior, since we actually. Did less than the 450,000 that we
Right.
originally, so they want a better idea of what they're approving.
Yeah, that makes sense. Sorry, I'm not very good at paying attention right now with my feverish mentality.
But just keep in mind, I'm front desk on Monday again. And we'll have to do some front desk work processing late fees, so I will juggle it the best I can. So do what I can Monday, if not, I'll be fully on it on Tuesday.
No problem, no, I'm just bringing up the
Yeah.
urgency of being able to get reimbursed, because. The sooner we get it to them, it's still gonna take them a month or two for approvals and to give us reimbursement.
And I think he was saying, even if we didn't have the full amount in, that we just needed to revise the budget to be more realistic. So he was still saying it didn't have to be exact. Was my understanding. He wanted it as much as we had, but we were gonna have to estimate.
Right,
a
but what
couple
I'm
more
saying
days.
is we should get the last invoice, because that's the last invoice, and then the estimate of how,
2 to 3 days.
you know, 3 days or how many ever days we think we're gonna haul water.
Makes sense. Discussion vote update on the urgent drinking water needs funding.
What we're just talking about.
So, yeah, I mean, there's nothing else to do on that
Have
right
you
now.
took several months?
That budget.
Okay.
Well, he did say that he said that the 2 to 3 week timeline wasn't necessarily something we should bank on. He didn't use those words, he used other words, but
Right.
he was basically saying that they would try to expedite things as much as they could, but not to rely on that.
Getting that.
The 2 to 3 weeks was referring to then from the time the complete application is submitted for them to approve the application, but then they
The
still need
funding
to
takes a while.
execute the funding agreement and then after that the reimbursements.
Okay,
But he said they would do their best to expedite anything they could.
okay, so now we're gonna move on to number 13. We're moving out of the Lake of the Woods project stuff at 7:58.
Thank you, Oscar. Have a good night.
Have a good night and a happy Thanksgiving.
Good night. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Discussion vote update on Cal OES Community Power Resiliency Allocation to Special Districts Grant. A, discussion vote update on the purchase and delivery of the generators.
Well, this is almost
Should we get
December. Don't have
The,
them.
the booster, I mean, the generator for the Elm Tank boosters, a 50 kilowatt generator is due to be shipped Monday, the 21st. So we'll see how that goes. We'll update you. Certainly Johnny will know once we get to Monday and find out if it's shipped or not.
Okay.
It's gonna be shipped here.
Yes. Well, I think, I don't know whether, do we have, I think we talked about this. Do we have room to put them? I know we have room to put at least one. But what's the situation there, Johnny?
I'm sorry, I missed that part. What was the question?
Storing the generators once they're shipped and we receive them, do we have room to store
We
them?
do. We do. I'm gonna clear out a spot in the lower shop bay and in front of it. My only issue really is getting a forklift big enough that could lift them. So the guy providing the generators told me he was going to send Curtis a list of weights for the generator, so I could prepare for having it forklifts there at the time that they're delivered, and then I'll have a place to put them.
Okay. All right. Well, I assume that Curtis is working on that. And I'll write a note to double check on that, Johnny.
Yeah, that'll help because Ace Hardware said we could use their forklift, but I don't think their forklift is going to be big enough for some of the generators.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Um,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Director Schoenberg?
The shipping estimate on the other ones, so does it look now like we'll get all of them in time?
Well, we're hoping so. I think we have one that's going to be scheduled for after the first of the year. And I think it's the smallest one too, the Harrison. Once we see that these guys are serious about getting them delivered to us through December, then, we won't have really too much hesitation going ahead and paying for paying for the one that has not been delivered yet. But I think we just have to see how well they respond, how well they stick to their promises.
And we have again until February?
February, Tiffany, what date is that in February?
It's the end of February to actually expend the money, and we just have to have that purchase order by the end of December. Prove that we encumbered the money with the purchase order.
Okay, by the end of December.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, discussion vote on engineering and design.
Right now, once we get the generators in and then Johnny decides, we'll meet with Johnny, I'll get with him or Curtis will, and we'll decide where each one's gonna go, and then we'll decide how we want to orient the pad to put them on. And we'll do one for each plant.
And are the load banks coming at the same time, Dee?
Good question. I think so. The prices included the load banks. So, that's, they should be with the unit.
Well, we need to find that out. I mean,
Well,
wow.
We will,
Dr. Schoenberg?
we'll find out on the first one here and then, but that's the agreement that they would be provided at the time they provide the generator.
Director Schoenberg?
So D it's likely that we're not actually going to be doing the pads until January sometime, or to really discuss. I want to make a motion to table item 13B until, so we don't keep kind of discussing it, but we're not ready to discuss it yet. So because we don't actually even have them yet, so
I just leave it.
Yeah, that would be fine. We'll, once we get them in and we decide where to put them, then we'll follow up with the design. So we do have to get them,
right, so can I table that until this last meeting in December? Table it for the next agenda?
For January.
I would say you could table it until January because I also have to have a crew to start installing the pads, and right now I'm too short-handed, so January would be fine after the holidays.
So I'd like to move that we can be left on the agenda with just tabled until that's for 13B, and I'd like to table it until the first meeting in January.
I'll second that motion.
A motion's been made by Director Schoenberg, seconded by Director Nyman. Roll call directors, Director Garcia,
Aye.
Director Nyman,
Aye.
Director Schoenberg,
Aye.
Director Kelling,
Aye.
Gibson, aye, 500. Okay, moving on to 14, discussion vote on district water tank replacement. A, discussion vote update on the project work.
okay.
Is that Ante?
Yeah, that's you, Dee.
Okay, if I can share my screen, we just got the 90% plans. Curtis just sent them over to me today. And I'd like to show you where we are. Let me get to page 1. And okay, now I'll go ahead and share my screen. There we go. And let me see, there's another thing that right there. Okay. Don't know whether how well you can see that. But this is this is the cover sheet. And it's a 38-foot diameter by 32 feet tall, basically going right in the location where the other one was. So after looking at the site and trying to figure out what the heck, how to build a pad on that very, very uneven ground, we decided that it would just be best to provide some temporary tankage and to keep Elm plant going, and then rebuild demolish the existing tank and rebuild the new tank on that site. So that's,
Where are we proposing that the temporary tank go across the street or something? Or-
I'll show you. I'll show you. We'll do some fill in this area here.
So you're saying you don't mind doing the fill just for a temporary tank because you don't have to worry as much about packing it and all of that, but
Right.
it's not a good idea for the permanent tank.
Yes, that's right.
Okay.
So there's the temporary tanks, Baker tanks. We use them quite a bit when we're doing projects like 123 TCP treatment, where we have carbon tanks that we have to evacuate and put new carbon in. A lot of times we'll use the Baker tanks to substitute for a place to actually put the water. So we're, it's pretty common. They're domestic, rated for domestic surface. And this is pretty much what the temporary grading plan would look like. We'd haul material in there and get something relatively flat so we could set those tanks at the elevation of the existing tank. Just a little bit more detail. When we finally finish, let me see if I can pull this in a little bit more. See if I can get it. So this will be the drainage swale that will end up being constructed on the site when we're finally done with the tank.
What do you mean swale? What is that? What does that
It's a
mean?
sump. It's a sump for any water that we have that might, if we have any overflow or any excess water that goes, that we have a, say, for instance, a failure of a
Safe
control.
drainage, basically.
What's that?
It's just for safe drainage, basically, so that the house below it doesn't get taken out.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. If we have a tank overflow, we don't want to wipe out the house downstream.
Now, if we have a temporary tank, it's not going to be able to be hooked up to our telemetry, right? Our SCADA, so we're going to have to run everything by hand.
We'll have to talk to our control. Who's our control tech, Johnny?
P&J.
Yeah, P&J. Have to talk to them and see how we can provide some protection there and replicate what we need in a temporary installation, so we don't have to operate it by hand.
It should be relatively simple, I would imagine, to put, well on, well off, high float in the temporary tank.
Yeah, I think it'll be fairly simple. Again, what you think might be simple sometimes turns out to be a little bit more complex, but anyhow, but yeah, I think that can be done fairly simply. This is kind of what the demo plan looks like. We've got some existing valves that we have to remove and some we have to replace. Here's the tank. That's what it looks like. Looks a lot like the one that we got there, pretty much the same size. It's different. You can see this is kind of the standard drawing that we do for a tank that gives the location of all the different outlets and control locations. That's just looking down on the tank. And we give them we have a 0 degrees and then 30 degrees and, you know, so many degrees around the tank to put these different features. And that's what it looks like. We have a ladder that goes up the tank. Something we don't have now. This is an exterior ladder. We have a foundation and a bunch of anchors, so that seismically we ought to be able to hold the thing in place. And we hope that we don't fail it in a big time earthquake. There's another view of the tank. I can tell you.
Dee, did you end up going one section higher than the existing one on the new design? You talked about that somewhat before, and I wasn't
Yeah.
sure if that design included
Yeah,
that.
I don't know how much extra we have built in there. I can say this, when you look at the water surface elevation right there, all that space right there is for the earthquake. You have a heck of a wave on the inside of the tank that I think right now it would probably blow the roof off of the existing tank. And the object is to contain that that surge wave. It's just basically a big wave that, you know, sloshes back and forth inside the tank. And we've allowed quite a bit of freeboard in order to accomplish that. We calculate it, and you know, that's based on the most severe earthquake that you could have. And we hope, got our fingers crossed, that that's enough. But you know, every time we have a major earthquake, we learn something. And I'm talking about the engineering profession. And, you know, that's why you see all the retrofits on the freeway. Because, you know, you find out that, boy, things happen that you never anticipated. But this is what we know about it now.
If I remember correctly, the existing tank is 3 rings high, so 24 feet high. This looks like it's a 4-ring tank, so that we're not losing anything certainly by having that extra slosh area.
Right. So is the capacity the same capacity or more?
It's the same, but we've provided more freeboard.
Right, okay.
Well, I guess you could say we're just a little bit more because we're just up onto that 4th ring right there.
And the reason why we probably can't add more, Brahma, just so you know, is because Elm floats with 3 other tanks. So the elevation has to remain the same for the most part. Otherwise, it's not going to work right.
Yeah.
For the pressure zones?
Not necessarily pressure zones. It's the main gravity zone, but they're all set at roughly 4,900 feet elevation. So when the well kicks on, it fills all of them equally at the same time in theory. So if we went an extra ring higher, I don't think it would fill it.
Okay. Right. You just overflow the other tanks.
Okay.
So yeah, they all work together. But that is freeboard up there. And those are the anchors. And you see those at Wolf Tank too. You know, they're pretty standard. You really got to hold these things down. There's 2 motions that go on in these tanks. One is the initial shock of the earthquake, which is generally a horizontal movement, and it pushes everything to one side. And then after that happens, you start the water in motion. And, you know, it's like we call it a siege on a lake, but it's basically a tidal wave inside the tank. And it sloshes back and forth. And if it's sloshing at the right time that another earthquake motion occurs in the same direction, you know, you can develop some really high forces. And so that's why all the hold downs there that will hold that tank down. I've seen a number of tank failures in the past. And I think I mentioned it, the compressive force on the tank wall that's opposite where the force is coming from, it really is trying to tip over, and the tank wall is trying to hold it up. It's in compression on that side. And if the force is great enough, it'll actually bend the very bottom panel. It'll bend it out. And they have a kind of a funny term for that. They call it an elephant foot, but that's kind of what the tank looks like. It actually warps out and back in at the bottom. And so you basically have quite a bit of repair to do, even if the tank does not fail. And so, the object is to not have a flood.
Often feet. Better see.
Pray for no earthquakes.
So B, did we just discuss this?
Yes.
Project plans and specifications? Good.
You're looking at it.
Discussion vote on going out to bid for the project. Are we there yet?
No.
We actually need to get the board and also the state a set of these preliminary plans and have Jesse review them and give us his input, and the board review them and give us your input, and then we'll finalize them. So I'll have hard copies that we'll bring up to the district next week.
Excellent.
Yeah,
Thank you. Thank you, Dee.
If Jesse's gonna be out of the office for a couple of months.
No, Jesse,
Lawrence.
that's
Oh, that's
Lawrence.
Lawrence. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, good. I was like, oh, no. Okay.
Okay,
So that's
Thank you, Dee.
thank
You're
you, Dee. New business discussion vote on folding the treasure committee into the accounts payable committee. Any ideas?
And I think D, do we need D for any of the rest of those?
No, I don't think we do.
No,
So if you wanna,
Take off, Ace.
Thank you, Dee. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. Well, I guess I'll
have a good,
reluctantly leave the meeting and head home.
Yes.
thank you, have a good Thanksgiving.
have a good
Thank
Thanksgiving.
you. Good-
Happy
have-
Thanksgiving talk.
Happy Thanksgiving.
But
Yeah.
take care of all that other stuff before you go to Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving to all you folks too.
Thanks, Steve.
Bye-bye.
Okay, so, so we're on 15, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'd like to move that we fold the treasurer ad hoc, it doesn't say ad hoc committee, but the treasurer ad hoc committee is currently Director Nyman and myself. I believe I can make this motion because I'm no longer going to be on the committee. And so we had talked about folding that committee into the accounts payable, since they seem to be doing all of that work currently anyway. So I would like to move, unless someone sees a problem with that, that we fold the treasurer ad hoc committee, ad hoc, into the accounts payable ad hoc committee.
I'll second that motion.
A motion's been made by Director Schoenberg, seconded by Director Garcia. Roll call, directors. Director Garcia,
Aye.
Director Nyman,
Abstain.
Director Schoenberg,
Aye.
Director Kelling,
Abstain.
Gibson, aye. So it's 3-0, 2 abstentions. Motion passed. Discussion vote on purchasing the extended warranty for the backhoe. So that's, we have a couple of questions for you, Johnny.
Sure.
Okay,
I know I have,
Director Schoenberg.
so Johnny, what we were understanding from this, but you weren't here, so we couldn't really ask you, is that the warranty starts at the moment of purchase of the actual backhoe. So what we were deliberating on is that really what this is doing is that it's extend that we need to have this extended warranty because we're not covered long enough, but it's not going to cover us for, so like a 3-year warranty is not going to cover us for 3 years. it's gonna cover us for because it's 3 years or the
1,000 hours.
hours, and it's only 1,000 hours. So when we were trying to figure out the hours, we figured we were gonna go through that 1,000 hours pretty rapidly. So really what it's doing is it's just covering us because the original, and it is a question, the original warranty is for far less than that 1,000 hours, correct?
That's correct. And the 1,000 hours, I think actually is a substantial amount of time. It seems like we use it a lot more, but we have multiple pieces of equipment. So I think we have like 20 or 30 hours on the new backhoe already. And we've had it for a few months now. So we don't put an exorbitant amount of hours on it. And the new one, you actually have to shut off. We used to leave them running longer in the cold and for the lights. And now with the new smog, we have to shut them off. We can't leave them running all the time. So we'll actually use less hours. I mean, she gave us different options. I mean, if we want to go with the longer option, I think that's a good idea. The longer, the better. The loader that we got for free, I just found out that we're going to be getting some quotes on that. They think they could put it off for a couple of years. But the tranny has got issues, and within a couple of years, we're probably going to have to rebuild the transmission on that. So we bought that in 2012 though. So I doubt a warranty is going to cover that length of time, but we definitely need the extended warranty, whatever you guys feel is pertinent to our needs.
We were having trouble figuring out,
Well,
Tony, excuse me,
Yeah.
how much time you actually use the backhoe in a month. Was all I had to go on was 172 hours per week, but you don't use it all 8 hours a day unless you're on a leak. Is that correct?
That's correct. And if you figured out 172 hours a week, I don't think we've ever used a backhoe even close to that.
Well, that was just the 8 hours a day. So I had
Yeah.
nothing to start, nowhere to go. I was just
Yeah, no, that's it. It's a good way to approach it.
So, but
Yeah, I would think on
either-
average, the most a week we would ever use it is 15 hours a week on average.
Okay, so that makes a big difference.
Right.
So we get 2,000 hours. Divided by 15. That's 133 weeks divided by 52. Almost
years.
2.5 years.
And if we could go up to the next level, that would be great, but
No, that's
That
the
is-
top
that's-
level.
That's the top level.
okay. Well, yeah, so that would work. See, we used to use more because we had to use the backhoe for doing all the road repair. Now we have the loader with the Gannon box that helps take some of that off.
Right.
So yeah, we're never gonna get close to the 60 months or even the 36 months. We're probably gonna get just a little over 24, or maybe 30 months or something. So, but we were just trying to deliberate if it was even, gonna be that, but obviously it is. So then we definitely would want to go with the longer amount of hours because
I would
we're
agree.
still gonna get a couple years warranty with that.
Yep.
And does the warranty actually cover?
Powertrain and hydraulics is the one that I think we should get.
Yes.
The mechanic that works on our stuff told me that he has not seen a lot of problems with electrical, which is the next level up you could get. He thought that, and I've known this guy for a bunch of years. He says he thinks that hydraulics and powertrain is what we want.
Because that's the only thing they quoted us.
So you recommend us going with the 60-month, 2,000 hour?
I do, absolutely, yeah.
Which in reality is gonna be about a little over 2 years.
Yeah.
2.5 years, yeah.
Well, if we're lucky, it's going to be even longer because we're not going to have to run it that much because we're doing mainline replacement.
Right, so it could be up to 60 months, but I doubt we'll get anywhere close to that, but yes, so, okay.
And Johnny's gonna keep that in mind and balance using the other equipment we have,
I'll go ahead and move that we purchase the 60 month, 2,000 hour maintenance agreement, extended warranty, excuse me,
For
For the
powertrain
new-
hydraulics.
for powertrain hydraulics on the new backhoe.
Just a quick question before I second that, or let me second that motion. And then I have a question. So I'll second that motion. And my question is, what does the basic warranty cover? Do you know?
I think it's only a year. And I think for during that year, it covers, all the same stuff, but, I'm not positive about that. I know it's only a year.
Right, because what this says is this does not start after the basic warranty, it's simultaneous with the basic warranty, so.
Yeah.
Basically, we're doubling the warranty, but if the basic doesn't even cover the powertrain and hydraulics, then we would be.
Well, if you guys approve it, I had an issue with getting information because Dawn, at Coastline that provided this, she was really busy. They had a bunch of COVID. They had a bunch of issues, and then she was on vacation, so I wasn't able to pin down a lot of it. But if you guys approve the warranty, I'll research it even more before I approve it with them. And if it doesn't seem beneficial, then I'll bring it back to you guys. But if it does seem beneficial, then I'll go ahead and approve it with them.
Okay, yeah, because that's my only other question was that it's gonna be running in conjunction with the basic warranty.
Yeah,
Because-
I'll clarify all that and make sure that it's actually something that we need. And if
Okay.
not, I'll bring it back to you.
Yeah, because
Makes sense.
So I
Okay,
second
so-
Dan.
A motion has been made by Director Garcia and seconded by Director Schoenberg. Roll call on directors. Director Garcia,
Aye.
Director Nyman,
Aye.
Director Schoenberg,
Aye.
Director Kelly,
I,
Director Gibson, aye, 5-0-0. Motion passed.
We talked about this redistricting last week. Were you able to find any information on that?
No, not yet. I had left a message with them, but I've been super busy last week with everything, but I'll keep on them. I'll call them again next week.
I tried to look it up on Google and I couldn't find anything that told me anything.
no,
So I think, this is my personal thought on it, I think that somebody messed up. This is my personal thought, I don't think that it's clearly, I think something was redistricted, but I don't think it was, I mean, it's such a bizarre redistricting where like one side of Alcott is. I think it's Alcott is, the odd numbers are one district and the even numbers are another voting district, and I don't know. What the difference is between a voting district and a district period, but it was based on the census. From what I understand, so that worries me, like I said, money wise, but and maybe even. What we're responsible for or not, but yeah, I couldn't find anything on it when I tried to look it up, so
I went to Kern County, the voting thing.
it's
and
not.
And tried to look at the, a map thing, and it kept giving me parcel maps and stuff, but it wouldn't show me lines or anything.
Yeah, the only reason I know about the odd and even numbers is because of the poll workers when I went in, because they were like, it makes no sense, nobody understands this, we're getting half of this street and then Lebec's going over here, and nobody knew what was going on. So,
My dad lives on Alcott. He's got an odd number and he still voted at the library.
right, but I believe the even numbers voted at the high school.
That's crazy.
All of my block, all voted at the high school, and
Okay.
actually all the way down to Pino, so.
Okay.
Carry it on. or-
I think we need to carry it on because but I don't know how we're gonna find out additional information.
Newspaper, the local newspaper did an article on it several months ago on the redistricting, so maybe they might have some kind of input.
Good call. 18.
Discussion vote on residents' potential water bottling business. Did we find out
So,
anything about that?
We brought this up today, update meeting. Jesse Dollywall's office is not in any way, shape or form responsible for anything that happens with bottling water. It's actually the and Tiffany looked up the website, what we're gonna need to do is we're gonna need to contact two different agencies. It's two different.
California Department of Public Health and the Food and Drug Branch, I think it is.
The Kern County Environmental Health and the, CDPH.
I personally feel like this is not
Hotel.
a real thing that's happening. I mean, I have a note on Monday to call CDPH and check, but I don't know where there would be any springs to even start a business like that other than ours. And I definitely, like I said, I had a guy call me up. He was very arrogant in Lockwood Valley saying he was going to start a bottling plant. And I told him that there, I
think that's the second one. I think there are two. I don't think that's the same gentleman that we were talking about.
well, I know that's the thought, but there's really no springs coming down between Fraser Park and Lebec except for ours
I mean.
that I'm aware of.
Not telling me anything.
I believe that we need to contact Kern County Environmental Health and see if someone has applied for a permit for anything in this area, and if so, where? And we also should contact California Department of Public Health. So the California Department of Public Health would be the permit from the county, and then the Kern County Environmental Health would have to be the people that signed off on it, I think. As far as that health of the water and the CEQA. And they would have had to fill out CEQA information, and then we would need to see what was going on as far as the water rights.
And with the La Focus, it was just CDPH that was involved. So I'll call both on Monday or Tuesday and try to find out what's going on, because I'm sure they'll tell me.
Yeah, well, I think they have to anyway. Public.
Yeah, I think they have to as well, but I don't know. And if it's below us, I don't know how much it would affect us anyway, but I'm sure it would affect Lebec. So we should also tell, if I find out there is somebody applying, I'll make sure I let Jessica Carroll down in Lebec know about it.
Yeah, we should both, if someone is doing that, both of us should put into whichever organization or both needs to have our input on that license, because I think it could cause potential issues either direction.
Wouldn't that also affect Tahoe? Because Tahoe is right there in the same aquifer that Lebec's in.
Yeah, it could potentially. So I'll definitely let everybody know if we find out that we do have somebody doing it. But if there's no applications yet, we won't have to worry about it.
Right,
Yeah. Okay.
Sounds good.
19.
Discussion vote on purchasing a turkey or ham for the employees for Thanksgiving.
I'll make a motion that we purchase a turkey or a ham for the employees for Thanksgiving.
Can you juggle that, Johnny?
Oh, yeah. Yep, I
Okay.
can make it happen.
I'll second it.
Okay, a motion's been made by Director Nyman and seconded by Director Garcia. Roll call of directors, Director Garcia,
Aye.
Director Nyman,
Aye.
Director Schoenberg,
Aye.
Director Kelly,
I,
Gibson, I, 5-0-0. Here comes the turkey. Discussion vote on plans for the Christmas party.
what are your plans, Johnny?
So, Johnny, we had talked when you were absent about trying to have something here. But ordering something, but I don't know if that's, something that you are amenable to, but that was what we started to discuss, was to have it actually here, which might be safer, and different than what you did last year, where you just ordered, some takeout stuff, doing more of a,
Here's my thing. Last year, the Christmas party was kind of a bust, right? It happened in a hurry. Did any directors come to it?
I did.
You did? I didn't. I had pneumonia. You had an appointment somewhere because it came to pass.
I had something going on, surgery.
I was out of town.
Yeah, so if we have an appreciation party and none of us are there, I suggest we give out gift cards. and then do a little luncheon, but I just feel like, how can we be appreciating our employees if we can't make it? And that's been, and in the past, we've had some great dinners, or lunches, but I just feel like everything's so different. We're so busy. We're busy as a board. Our employees are busy. We have a real small staff right now, so that's just.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. I think if you did gift cards and then we just did the employees themselves did something at the water company, and the board would be invited to that, but we could do it a lot cheaper, and gift cards would show the employees that they're appreciated.
Have we ever given out gift cards or gifts before?
I never remember, but I know that Lisa and Greg gave out, on a personal level, but I don't know about it as a district level.
Yes, in 2020, we gave out gift cards.
Oh yeah, I seem to remember that.
But that's because there was COVID and we weren't allowed to meet.
Okay, but last year we had a party and nobody came.
Well, I'm glad. I was dealing with my brother with cancer, so I'm.
I couldn't have come to, Lisa had something that was serious.
Yeah.
Rum could come. Jerry, yeah, and that time of year, those kind of things happen.
So, but even we don't even have a date, so you don't, I don't even know, I don't know what Johnny and what the guys are thinking.
Well, I don't think our employees are thinking anything at this point. I personally, as their manager, I think that they would, especially with the way finances are, with inflation and everything this year, I think they would appreciate a gift card more. And everybody to get together. And I think that would show appreciation more than having a sit down dinner when who knows who's going to be sick. My whole family's sick right now.
Sorry to hear that, Johnny.
Well, it's all right. It's just the flu, but it's
amount?
still, the whole school, Gorman School is, half of them, they say it has got the flu. So we don't know what's going to happen for a Christmas party. We could all get together and then have a COVID blow up.
I was thinking $100.
I worry about that stuff because it's public money. So I think sometimes it's easier to do a food party where we're not, it's not an amount like that. Like it's still, we're not a private company.
Yeah.
Well, we could also do just get like Los Pinos to do some, the big aluminum foil trays of like whatever it is, enchiladas or whatever, and go down and pick that up, and whoever wants to come can come. And I know that that's not expensive. We've done that before. If you go there and you everybody orders their own stuff, it winds up more expensive. But
that's expensive.
but if you just
I don't know.
order trays, it's not bad.
I think you could do a combination of the two. I think you just want to be careful on the amount of the. There's certain things that people are like, oh yeah, okay, and then I just worry about making sure that we're
What
not.
amount are we thinking about for a gift card?
I don't know. I don't know because I'm not the public, so I'm just voicing my worries that they're always worried about how we're spending our money.
Why don't you just set a dollar amount for the dinner or the lunch, and then that all base what we order off of that.
But we also only have 5 employees right now, correct?
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. So if you just, but typically for the Christmas party, you try to get families to come in.
Right, then that's what I'm saying, then it becomes more, it becomes bigger and bigger and bigger.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If you just set say a $200 limit on a tray, on multiple trays of food from one of the Mexican restaurants, that would buy plenty of food and it's cheap.
Okay. I'll make a motion that we set a limit of $200 to buy trays from either Los Pinos or La Sierra, whichever, Johnny, feels fit to do.
And I think if we, I'm just gonna say, if we wanna do gift cards on top of that, we could do it, just maybe not quite the amount, like a 25 or.
And
$30, something like what we normally do with the turkeys or the ham, so it's.
okay, so here, let me amend my motion. I make a motion that we do $200 for food for the Christmas party, and that for each of the employees, we give them $25 gift cards.
Sounds good.
You're talking about an American Express card?
Well, whatever is the cheapest to buy at Dollar General.
Whatever, you know, whatever gets at Dollar General. I mean, whether
Well,
it's
you can get
Walmart,
all of them all.
yeah, or 20, you know, they get a $25 gift card, so it's up to Johnny to
Find out what they want.
find out what they want and what's there, and they can get a $25 gift card.
Yeah, and just to include that in the motion, some of those gift cards cost $4.95 to get the $25. So
Why I used to go out and just buy it at a particular place, like I asked you guys what you eat or what you know, where you go the most and got gift cards there, so.
oh, that's a good idea too.
Those
yeah.
don't cost any extra.
That's
So
true. Yeah. So if you approve
$5
$25 a piece, I'll find out what restaurant in town they want.
Okay.
Sound good?
Okay, motion's on the floor. We need a second.
Let's look at that.
Okay, motion's been made by Director Nyman, seconded by Director Garcia. Roll call directors, Director Garcia,
All right.
Director Nyman,
Aye.
Director Schoenberg,
Uh,
Director Kelling. Okay. Gibson, I 500. Motion passed. Discussion vote on future agenda items. Any that we haven't mentioned? We didn't really mention any, did we? No.
Yeah, I know next month, David Wasserman's contract renews, Johnny, so. We kind of get with him and get the new contract, so it'll be on the agenda next month.
Who's
Good
that?
idea. Yeah, I'll send him an email right now and ask him to get the contract for us.
Perfect, thank you, that's a cross connection.
Oh,
Okay. That one, we December.
Okay.
okay, if there's anything else, I will make it.
Eight positions?
yes,
Thank you, yeah. That's the big one, yeah, you're in.
I'm sorry, but I just didn't know if that was this year. Maybe.
it's every year
Okay,
But we can
in December.
extend it for a year, because.
Yeah, it's up to 2 years. It's a year and then an extension year. Okay, we've all only been doing this a year currently.
Okay, I make a motion that we adjourn.
I'll second that.
Okay, motion's been made by Director Nyman, seconded by Director Kelling. Roll call directors, Director Garcia, Director Nyman,
Aye.
Director Schoenberg, Director Kelling,
Aye.
Gibson, I 500. Motion passed.
Okay.
Excellent. Thank you, Thank you,
Happy
Dominique.
Thanksgiving, everybody. Thank you.
Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Thank you for
Bye, Pam.
sticking around, listening to us.
Good night.